And now let me announce myself. So yeah, I have a little bit fewer slides than Eloy, so this is a little bit more relaxed pace. I will talk about the Collabora Office versus the Collabora Online. Yeah, so this is a deep dive. We go a little bit deeper there, what it is, what's the philosophies behind that, how the product has evolved beyond Collabora Online. Interesting background. So, right, so there is of course the main product, which is the Collabora Online, which is browser native, runs in the browser, in the internet out there. You don't need to install anything at all. There's many more talks about that. We're not talking about that. We are talking about the native apps. There's a number of them. You can see them there in the line below. Well, what we wanted to do, because there are so many of them, what we wanted to do is we wanted to unify the user experience. We wanted to make them look and feel as much as possible the same. The mobile apps are almost the same, since the form factor is a little bit different there. Necessarily they behave a little bit differently, but it's actually the same code. So it's just a different let's say, user experience setting there that's been used. So, right, why the hell are there so many different versions and which one to pick? Yeah, to use the browser or to use the desktop or to use the mobile app, that's the question. And there was probably a number of IT architects asking that during various migrations. So yeah, why did we end up here? Why is this dichotomy there? Why is this zoo of product there? And why is everybody shipping different versions on different platforms? Because, well, the problem, of course, is that this is different technology. So necessarily, there's the plethora of platforms, APIs, operating systems, form factors. So quite naturally, the engineering solution to that is to have different code doing different things on different platforms. You have different user experience guidelines, different accessibility requirements, etc., etc. So yeah, natural answer to that is ship different products and different code for different platforms, which is a problem because if you do that, you end up here, which is quite amusing, inserting objects in your document. So it sounds like quite a basic thing, but it's actually not available everywhere. So yeah, you have this features appear in one version, sometimes never appears in another version. Documentation becomes vague or complex or confusing. Yeah, and that's not great, right? So, so you have this sort of amusing thing here. I want to edit the document, but I can't in the browser, so I need the desktop app for that. Yeah, unsupported features. I can't touch this. I can't render this properly, so I need to download it and edit it locally. And then I have my screen. At some stage, my screen looks like this, which is not cool, I think. And we want to do better. So the end result, let's say where the industry has arrived for many products, is this one. So you have this gulf, like this canyon in the middle. One side is great on the desktop, the other side is great in the browser, but it's not written here. But what I'm saying is it's usually awful on the other side. So yeah, so the ideal solution, of course, is you have one code base that works everywhere, the same. With the same features, the same rendering. You don't have this, you can't do this here, but you need to do it there. It looks the same, it feels the same, and it's even the same code base, so you have like, don't need to do things in triplicate. Can we do this? So not to let the suspense kill you, actually, yes, we have been doing that for years. So the mobile versions, Chromebooks, and also the tablets and mobiles actually has been doing that since like more than a decade. So that's actually the Collabora online code that's packaged and ported in a way that it runs on the mobile versions. But we didn't stop there. So we wanted to bring that same experience to the desktop. And so we went and did that. So again, that's not news. We launched that last year with the new Collabora desktop version. And that's available on all major operating systems. That's available on macOS, that's available on Windows, and that's also available on Linux. And it all has the same user experience. It looks and feels the same. It looks like Collabora Online. It's beautiful, responsive, and looks good. Yeah, and how do we win with native code? I mean, beyond what I just said, the obvious benefits of having the same experience there, it's also nice to be able to have offline support, to have access to native platform APIs, so you have true clipboard support, like with the full set of features there. You don't lose anything because everything needs to be either plain text or HTML, and everything that doesn't really naturally fit into that like complex spreadsheet content gets lost in the process. We have decent multi-screen support, like when you're presenting, so that you actually know what is the external screen. You can swap that. You get some input like what's the resolution, etc. Proper printing, it's still a case, obviously, in particular in the let's say, larger organizations and public sector, of course. All of that is not available in the browser, but of course there's very rich platform APIs for that. And many, many, many more things like proper image formats and videos, etc. Everything that is hard in the browser, but let's say standard on a desktop operating system. So yeah, let's look at a number of nicer pictures here. So this is how you're greeted when you start the Collabora desktop version, the Collabora Office. You get a very nice, friendly welcome slideshow that presents you with the features. And it just looks nice. So compare that Collabora Office Classic with this one. The same feature, the same thing. So you see the navigator there, so the document structure there. You see a comment there, and if you compare that, it just looks beautiful, and it's more discoverable, more efficient, and of course it's based on user feedback, so we can reuse all the experience and all the input we're getting and all the product management we're getting for online and have the same experience then on desktop. It's complementary to Classic, so Classic is not going away. It gets ongoing support, has a huge code base. It's used in many, many places. There's a lot of tech overlap, so that's not going away. And there's a community backing that code base. Now, what you probably are thinking is like with the talks you've had before and all this nice collaboration and also like this people being very happy about finally being able to do real-time collaboration, what's the story there for desktop? Because obviously when you're back on desktop, then you only have this, this single user, right? Actually, collaboration is mostly an exception. Well, it's great to have that, but for many, many, many editing sessions, it's just one user, right? So we have this, we have a bit of demo servers and test and input we're getting. So we did a little bit of statistics there, and quite a lot more than 90% of the use cases is just one user. Of course, the absolute overwhelming use case is 0 users, but we don't need to do anything for that. But for one user, that makes sense to optimize for that use case, right? But of course, it's kind of not cool, like when you add it locally and you never know about then some colleague maybe wanting to edit the same document, and then they edit the same document and you end up with 4 different versions of the document, which is the old setup. And really, you don't want to be there anymore in this day and age. So we did something about it. We want to be able to nicely, conveniently, and transparently switch between offline and online editing. And that's, again, a great benefit of how this is architectured. So actually, when you go for the mobile and desktop versions, the new ones, you see that actually all of them include the little server version, this cool WSD. That's all included. So that usually when you use online, that runs on the server, on the remote end of the connection. But for mobile and the desktop app, you have it locally. So it's actually there, and it's using the same JavaScript front end, just in the same process. So here's the thought. How about when you have a single editor, you load the document from the remote end, and then you edit it locally by loading it, downloading it, and putting it into the local cool WSD, and then happily editing that, while at the same time still maintaining that connection, which is just essentially idling there, nothing happens there, except when a second user joins. So then the server notifies the client, there's a second user. And then what we can do is we can simply switch underneath this one server side, which is local, with the server side that is remote. Because it's exactly the same code, the same protocol. It just needs, instead of connecting this socket here, connect that socket there. So that's, it's not trivial, but it's also not rocket science to do that. Of course, when you want to do read-only, just reading, like following the editor, there's a slightly more optimal solution there, where you essentially still use the local version, but just update it occasionally and then move the cursor. Yeah, so that is actually in the pipeline. There's a talk later today from Stefan, who will get you all the details there and the plans. There's another talk right after the tea break about how we managed to re-engineer the desktop version from Candy and Tor and Zapper, if you're interested in the details. Yes, and this is coming, so just some nice preview here. So you open a remote document in your favorite file sharing application, and you start editing. So you just do your stuff there locally with this nice, wonderful, beautiful user interface. And then at some stage, your colleague is joining, and then you get this little, it's a little bit larger here, so hopefully you can read that. There is a second user joining, and you get this little pop-up there because you still have this connection, and that's still open, and it sends a message, and it says another user joins. And you can choose. You can say, I want to keep working on the local copy, or I want to join the collaborative editing. And that way it's transparent, and that way it's usable, and that way you win both ways. So you get the nice local experience, the nice offline experience, like being able to edit in the tunnel, while at the same time still maintaining the collaborative experience when people want to join you. Right. And of course, you might be asking, what is if I click this left button there? I mean, or when the tunnel is very long, or when I'm on Mars or something. And the round trip takes like half a day. So actually the other problem that is there and that we're out to solve is that for anything collaborative, for anything where more people are working on the same document, the actual problem is make conflict resolution nice and easy and working really well. Because you will inevitably end there anyway. So that's another thing in the pipeline. So we want to make diffing and comparison and reconciling your edits really, really nice and usable and convenient. All right. So that's my talk about Collabora Office. Thank you.